Moderna vaccine, the AstraZeneca vaccine, and also the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. We're going to talk a little bit about the Sinovac vaccine. Sinovac is a private Chinese company that developed their coronavirus vaccine version called CoronaVac. We're going to talk about the mechanism of how that works. So basically, we have SARS-CoV-2. And as you know, we have the spike protein. And this is what binds to the ACE2 receptor on your cells when the virus goes into your body. And inside the virus, we have the RNA. And the RNA codes for the information when the virus infects your cells so that the cells make more viral particles and they can infect more cells in your body. So what Sinovac does is they made their corona vaccine, or CoronaVac, simply by taking coronavirus from multiple countries and looking at them to see what was the most representative. They took eventually one from China, and since it already had the spike proteins on the virus, all they had to do was destroy the information to the cells that were telling the cells how to make more viral particles. And they did that by adding a chemical called beta-propiolactone. And what this chemical does is it basically goes in and inactivates the messenger RNA so that it can't be used inside of the cells. And then they took this inactivated virus and combined it and put it into a vaccine and added aluminum as an adjuvant. And that word adjuvant simply means it's something that's added to the vaccine to stimulate the recipient's immune system more to recognize that something foreign is there. And this is essentially what they have as their vaccine. It's what they inject into the recipients. And we're going to talk about some of the results from the trials that have gone on around the world on this vaccine. Now, remember, since they used a virus from China, it was very similar to the original virus that came out of Wuhan, China at the beginning of the pandemic. And so the variants that we've seen around the world, like the variant that was first discovered in South Africa, and the variant that was first discovered in the UK, and the variant that was discovered in Brazil first, they're going to be slightly different than the spike protein here on this particular coronavirus that was used for CoronaVac. And that's important to understand because, as was published here on the BBC News, with this article titled Sinovac, Brazil results show Chinese vaccine 50.4% effective. You'll have to realize that, of course, Brazil is a country with a very large proportion of their coronavirus infections with the P1, or the Brazilian variant. So we have some results, and some of them are subdivided. For instance, when we look at the data that's come out of Brazil, they initially had reported for mild and severe cases an efficacy of 78%. However, when they added to that the very mild cases, they found that in those cases, the overall efficacy was 50.4%. And that may be, as we've discussed, a result of the fact that Brazil has a lot of variants, and specifically the Brazilian variant, which may not be as similar as it could be to the original virus that was discovered in China. Now, there have been some other trials, for instance, in Turkey, that showed that the efficacy there was 91.25% in terms of cases. And in Indonesia, recently, it was shown at 65.3%.